Hey everybody, welcome back. This is JerryNines. We're going to look at a recent IDPA match that I shot. We're going to go through the stages of the match and we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects that unfortunately doesn't get discussed a lot. Where do different match disciplines, different competition disciplines, where do they get in the way of actual real world oriented training and how you would act, where they help? We're also going to look at during the stages where I make some blunders. Let's just again roll right into stage one. And stage one, I think, is one of those classic conundrums from the perspective that I'm talking about. So it's not a real world situation, and it requires you to do some things that I don't think are directly oriented to real world self-defense with the firearm, but there are some things in there that challenge you in a good way. You start off, you're behind a barrel. On that barrel is your handgun, one magazine. You have two magazines in your magazine pouch. Each of those magazines is loaded with only 5 rounds. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And I mean, again, from the real world perspective, and you have 3 targets. On the beep, you're gonna pick up, load, strong side only or strong hand only. You're going to engage 5 rounds in the first target. You're going to go to slide lock, reload, and then for targets 2 and 3, you can come up with your regular preferred shooting grip, and you're going to engage 5 more, target 2, slide lock, emergency reload, 5 more into target 3. So let's go ahead and look at the stage. That was stage one. I didn't do too badly. I came in the 84th percentile. And if I really sort of, I guess, kick myself as much as possible, I think that my reloads could have been better. Again, I don't put a lot of stock in reloads for defensive pistol, real world defensive pistol work. And also there was a hesitation where I came up, made ready, came up, and then had to think about it. I was like, oh, that's right. The first stage is strong hand only. I guess I could have shaved some seconds off there, but I don't really compete for, trying to shave seconds off. I try to keep it as real world as possible. So that was stage one. I felt pretty good about it. Could have been smoother. That's where we are. Stage two. So stage two starts off in, it's like a hallway supposedly, and you have to engage a couple of targets. You then come around. You'll see me, I shoot a popper, which activates a swinger, and then you kind of cross around to the other side of the stage and you take out a series of targets with a no-shoot or a hostage target. So this one, first of all, let's talk about the good. So the good is I rocked it, right? I shot it clean, so no misses at all. Even the swinger I shot 3 times and I hit it 3 times in the 0 section. So, and yeah, I mean, 98th percentile, came in, I think, 3rd overall. So that worked really well. In terms of things that aren't real world for the stage, so it's a shooting competition. You'll notice after on the beep, I draw, I engage, and then I have to turn, I have to run 180 degrees over and kind of button hook right at the end of that hallway. And I have to run with my gun behind me because you have to keep the gun down range. And, so is that detrimental? Probably not. I mean, the reality is that, yeah, it's nice to be able to shoot in a 360-degree range. I've been able to do it twice in my life, and they're amazing, but you often have to make some sort of allowance for safety. So in this case, yeah, I had to run my gun behind me. In a real-world situation, I think I'd know that I need my gun in front of me. So let's go ahead and take a look at stage 2, which again, I absolutely rocked, shot it clean, and feel pretty good about it. Let's take a gander.
Stand by.
Okay, so that was stage 2, and as I said, I did really well in it. 98th percentile, so top 2% of shooters shot it clean. One thing I do want to mention about that is that you'll notice that you have to engage and go over to the left and hit that popper. And the first magazine, we were artificially restricted to 8 rounds in the magazine because they didn't want people to spray and pray that mover. Spray and pray? Spray and pray that mover. They wanted people to be judicious in their ammo. So here's a great example of IDPA trying to hold people accountable for some sort of real world standards. Again, we're responsible for all of our rounds. We can't just go ahead and fire willy-nilly into space and time, right? So that set me up for that really good reload, by the way, which is the same reload you see in the very beginning sort of intro of the today's video. And like I said, everything went well. I think the reload probably could have been a little smoother if I had to, really critique myself. I looked at my gun a little bit longer than I should have, but overall went well. Let's get on to stage 3. Stage 3, another good stage for me. I think I shot this one in the 84th or 85th percentile, somewhere like there. And one of the things I liked about this one is you start off, you have 3 targets on the beep, you engage those, the first one's headshots only. Then you have to move to some targets that are through like a window. And I really tried, as I was thinking about this stage, I tried to think about if I'm coming up on an open area and I know that I have to hit targets, I don't want to have to run up and take a good firing position and engage those targets. I want to try to keep them suppressed. Now, of course, some might say that the idea of suppressive fire is anathema to self-defense shooting, the point that I just made a second ago. But in this case, again, I don't think you just want to run up to someone, give them a free target and sit there. I think you want to use cover and concealment. Since I didn't have any cover to use, my cover was my gunfire coming in, hoping to get good hits and making sure that those people, didn't just have a free shot at me. So I like the fact that I did shoot on the move before I engaged that last target, and then you see me go through the rest of it. Not a lot to say about this, except I thought it was a good stage. If I nitpick a little bit, you'll see there are a couple of times when I think I dropped the weapon, maybe unnecessarily when I'm moving. I know that obviously you don't want to sit there and be aimed in all the time. You want to make sure your peripheral vision has something it can work with. But I do feel like maybe I'm unnecessarily dropping a little bit too far. Go ahead, feel free to critique me as always. Feel free to put those critiques in the comments section, like, subscribe, do all that other good stuff. Let's get on to stage 3.
I think I was 8 years.
Okay, so stage 4, this is where the wheels started coming off for me in this match. I think overall it started out pretty good, and then at some point I cross over to the right hand side and I have a stoppage, and then this is where I fail, because looking back on it, if I had just taken the proper instilled immediate action of tap, rack, and bang, I may have gotten that stoppage cleared and been able to take, maybe 3/4 of a second to clear that stoppage. Instead, I overthink it. I look, my slide isn't closed all the way, so I'm like, well, let me just get rid of that magazine. I get a new magazine in there, the slide closes all the way, so I go up to engage, I get a click, loudest sound in a gunfight, and then I have to run the slide again. It takes 8 seconds, which is an eternity if someone's trying to kill you. So that kind of blew things for me, and you'll see it. Let's just look at it and then we'll recap it here in a second. Okay, stage 4. A lot of good things going on, one major bad thing going on. I needed to get that weapon back into operation. I failed to do so quickly. Took me 8 whole seconds. Came in the 46th percentile in that stage, and just need to do better, right? Stage 5, you'll notice I've turned my color scheme to red. Why? Because I feel in stage 5 I was pretty much a danger to myself and everyone around me. Now, maybe it isn't that bad, but let me explain. I went into stage 5 and I had planned already, I did this at a match a couple weeks ago, that my last stage of the match, I was gonna do headshots only. Not because I think I'm John Wick or British SAS or anything, but because I like to add a little bit of spiciness to the mix. I like to challenge myself, and this is a good way to do it. I think the stage goes really well right up until the very end. So in IDPA, you have hostage targets. They're a standard silhouette. They have 2 hands spray painted on the front of them. They are no-shoot targets. They are friendly targets. And I don't know, are they a 10-second penalty every time you shoot one? I think it's a 10-second penalty every time you shoot one. And so I go through, because it's headshots only, I'm going through the stage and I'm focusing on that little rectangle for the preferred scoring section of the head. And I'm going through and I'm doing all that, and I get to that very back portion and I'm running through, going left to right, engaging the targets in tactical priority, and I just drill that hostage target not once but twice in the dome. And even if you listen carefully, you can even hear me recognize it after I crack them the second time, and I kind of yell at myself. That gives me like 20 penalty seconds, and it's not pretty. So let's go ahead and give it a watch. We'll come back for a wrap up on stage 5, and then a wrap up for, I guess the whole match. So let's go ahead and watch me fail miserably.
Ready. Stand by. Go sexy! Might as well finish him off, right? Yep. Fuck that guy.
Okay, so that was stage 5, and that's the match. Overall, I came in largely because of those 2 stages that things fell apart. Came in about the 54th percentile, so just a little bit better than half of the other folks out there. I should have done better. That's on me. Having said that, the only other thing I have for you today is, I'm not just JerryNines YouTube firearms guy. I'm also JerryNines LLC, a federal firearms licensee and a special occupational taxpayer, which means that I can bring you cool stuff like this. The Pluto suppressor, 3D printed, 3.5 ounces of titanium, 22 long rifle, 22 Magnum, 5.7 by 28. I have these in stock. I'm going to put my QR code up here. If you, if I can do anything for you, then go ahead and give me a call. And like I said, these particular things I have in stock. You give me a call, I can make you a good deal and want to get one out to you. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. And as always, God bless America.